2 days after posting a file in which I wrote that I have not seen any flowers on my mint plant, I discover a couple of them. They're so tiny that you don't notice them when you're standing up and looking down on the plant. You have to bend down and take a close look. I cut off this flower cluster and took it inside to get some better video. The buds are blooming almost randomly along the cluster rather than from the bottom to the top. The flowers have 4 stamens that are so long that they are protruding far above the flower petals. Each has a purple anther, all of which are opening up and releasing pollen. Now I'm shining a light from a different angle, and you might be able to notice tiny bright white dots, which is reflected light from the droplets of mint oil that are all over the leaves, stems, and flower buds. Now I'm back to regular lighting. As always, when I look closely at plants, I find an insect, this time a caterpillar. Small insects are everywhere I look. I don't know what type of insect this caterpillar transforms into. The caterpillar moves so quickly that I slowed down these close-up videos to half speed. Some people eat caterpillars, and I suppose these would have a mint flavor since their stomachs would contain mint oil. This caterpillar is about 5 millimeters long, so it's easy to see. Here is the rear of the caterpillar. You can see 2 of its tiny feet clinging to one of the flower buds. When I pulled it out of the flower cluster, it had a long silk thread attached to it. Did a spider web get caught on the caterpillar? Or is a caterpillar creating a silk thread as it crawls around in order to prevent it from falling off the flower? If so, it's behaving like a spider. Most of the flower buds are tightly closed, but a couple of them had a stigma protruding out of it, like this one. The end splits into 2, like a lizard tongue. Apparently, these buds are hoping to pick up some pollen from another flower before their own anthers start producing pollen. They want to reproduce with some other flower rather than with themselves. All of the leaves, stems, and flower buds are covered with little droplets of mint-scented oil. I suppose the droplets are supposed to keep insects away, but the caterpillar didn't seem to be bothered by them. So, which insects is this oil protecting the plant from? I don't have whatever lenses are necessary to see such tiny flowers in focus. I have to alter the focus so that different parts come into view. That is why these images seem to be changing. So, what you have to do as you watch my videos is to notice the areas as they come into focus, and then try to imagine what the completed flower looks like. The purple anthers are so small that they are especially difficult to see clearly with my camera, and the pollen looks like blurry white balls. In order to compensate for that, I'll show you a few different anthers from different angles and lighting conditions. Some of the anthers are just starting to open up and release pollen, such as this one. Each anther releases pollen from 2 slits. Now for some anthers that are bursting open with lots of pollen. The purple membrane appears to be extremely thin, which creates the illusion that the balls of pollen are expanding inside a purple balloon, similar to what happens when you put too much rice in a pot of water. Another interesting view is looking up from near the base of the flower to the top of the anther. This one has so much pollen that you can see it even from this angle. These tiny flowers have lots of beautiful colors and details, but you get a much better view with your eyes. However, as I mentioned in my article about these issues, you need access to either large magnifying glasses or some type of stereo optics.